Welcome to Larry's Library, and welcome to the Check-In Weekly. Now, this is the show where I talk about stuff I read, watched, or observed last week, and we'll get right into it. So, I did start reading Fantastic Four Omnibus Volume 5. Didn't get very far into it. I got about 2 issues into Roy Thomas's run, and I did put it aside to read a couple more modern things that just read much faster. So, as I get in some modern stuff, I do typically set the older omnibus material aside because it reads so slow, and I can knock out a couple more modern pieces and then come back to the Bronze Age or so-called modern age omnis afterwards. So I got into the new Birthright hardcover. They're calling it a hardcover, and it is. But I tell you, after I put this next to some Marvel and DC omnibuses, you can see that this thing is actually the exact dimensions of the standard Marvel omnibus. And so that's pretty awesome. Now, it is better because it doesn't have a dust jacket. The artwork and everything is just right on the cover boards, and I prefer that. This is a beautiful looking hardcover. This collects Birthright, the first half of that run, and that run ran for 50 issues. So we've got 1 through 25 in this beautiful volume here. Check it out. Like I said, it's basically a slimish omnibus. You can think of it that way. But at a much, much smaller price point. I mean, I don't know how they do it, but look at this cover. How beautiful is that? That is art by Andre Bresson, I believe is the pronunciation. And Joshua Williamson writes the whole thing. Fan favorite, I guess. New to me. I don't think I've read much of his stuff before, if at all. Now, I had read the first arc or so in a hardcover, a standard size hardcover that Kristen gifted me, and so I was anxious to read this, and I just went through the whole thing in, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 nights, 3 or 4 sessions, read the whole thing, loved it. This is great. If you haven't, if you're not familiar, this is about a little boy gets taken to this other land. He's the chosen one, you know the old trope, and he becomes a hero there, and he spends a certain amount of time, and then he returns. And when he returns, more time has passed in the other world than in our world. So he's an adult now. And I'm not going to give anything else away. But it is wild. You know, you have orcs and monsters and flying creatures and all manner of stuff going on here. Sorcery. And Joshua Williamson's take on magic is different than I've ever seen done before. And that is a hard thing to do because magic has been done to death. But he does it in a very unique way. I just love this. Can't wait for book 2. Hopefully they get that out. Image put this one out, so I really hope they kick out book 2 in not too long, and we'll have it all complete in this beautiful format. I loved it. And another thing that's really impressive about that is you have the same team on the whole thing, at least the first 25 issues, and I think that the last 25, hopefully. If anyone knows, let me know down in the comments, but I haven't looked that up, but yeah, that's impressive feat, especially for modern stuff. I shouldn't say that. The problems existed as long as I can remember where they just can't keep a team together on something, but they did it here, and it's awesome. I also read SubGenre. Now, this is a magazine-size, wide format hardcover, and this one is written by Matt Kindt, with art by Wilfredo Torres. Now, I had never seen, or if I had seen Wilfredo Torres art, I did not remember it. And this is, this is fantastic. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, though, because I'm going on OmniDog's Vault tonight, and I'm shooting this on a Saturday. And so I'm going to be on his Batter Days, which we're also going to combine into book club, and that is the book club for this month. So if you're watching this on the following Monday and you didn't catch that, go over to OmniDog's Vault's channel and watch that if you want. And I'm sure I'm going to have a good time. I'll put a link down in the description to this in case you didn't get to watch that. But yeah, the Torres art, at first I thought it was okay, and the more I got into it, the more I loved it. You know, some artists you kind of have to figure out what they're doing, and you don't really, doesn't grab you right away at first, and that was what happened here. But boy, I am a fan now. Yeah, really love this one. This was fantastic. And speaking of live streams, I was on one of Garage Geek's Friendsgiving live streams. This was Wednesday. I was on there. And the theme was supposed to be show 10 things, show 10 geeky things we've never shown before on YouTube. I mean, and I pulled it off. I showed 10 unique things I've never shown before. So if you didn't get a chance to see that, check it out. I'll put a link to that as well down in the description. Yeah, I'm not saying Garage Geek didn't hold his end up. He did show 10 unique things, but he showed more than 10 because he's showing a lot of stuff from his husband's collection. So it was still a fun time, and I think you'll like it if you take a look at it. So I'll link it up. My single issue read last week was Incredible Hulk 317. I'm going through John Byrne's little run he did the first time he took over the Hulk, where he's doing the writing and the drawing. It's really nice. This one here, we see Banner assembling his new Hulkbusters team for the first time. So that's kind of different. And you see Doc Samson is still fighting with the now physically separated Hulk. Not going real well there. but yeah, this John Byrne Marvel Comics are a favorite of mine since forever. So yeah, I'm having a good time. And I continue to read a little further into Imminent by Lue Elizondo. I talked about that in last week's show, but Lue Elizondo was the head of ATIP, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program for the Pentagon, for some time. But he's not involved with that now. I mean, he'll be involved with it for the rest of his life, I guess, because he retained his clearance, but he doesn't work directly for the government now. And he does have this nice book out where he goes into great detail about some wild, wild shit. Okay, I am loving this. I'm about 50 some odd pages in now. And he goes into how he was slowly approached by various government spooks, where they ask him to become part of this UFO investigation stuff. The first few chapters before that, even it outlined Lue's early life and how and why he joined the military. It's pretty fascinating stuff. He also talks about, he mentions a SCIF again, and you might remember David Grush when he testified before Congress. A lot of the things they asked him, he said, well, I'd have to be in a SCIF. And I have got it pulled up here so I wouldn't forget, but SCIF stands for, Sensitive Compartmented Information Facility. And it's basically like a shipping container from the outside, is what it looks like. And in the inside, it's just a conference room, and they put people in there and lock them in place, and the thing is sealed to block sound and radio and electromagnetic waves. That's the point of a SCIF. So, you get a couple people that are both read into various programs, as they call it, and have the clearance to talk to one another, but some things they still won't freely speak about unless they're in one of these SCIFs. If I can, I'll try to find a picture of a SCIF from the outside, and I'll put it on the screen here. But that very odd thing that, I always wondered exactly what that stood for or what it meant. And he gets into that a little in here. But yeah, fascinating book. I'm loving it, and I'm sure I'll have another update for you on it next week when I get even further in. But if you are interested in the whole UFO phenomena thing, I definitely recommend you read this book. I think there's an audio version too where he reads it himself, so might do it that way. Oh, and before I forget, Taschen did come through. I received my replacement copy of that big, beautiful Silver Surfer tome, and it's fantastic. Yeah, I can't fault Taschen for this. I mean, there was a little bit of communication trouble in the beginning, but they came through, and I got my replacement. And I'm happy to report I looked through every single issue or every single page very carefully, and it is perfect, as it should be. Absolutely perfect and stunning. Yeah. So if you do ever buy a Taschen book and you have a problem with it, here's what I recommend you do. Go to their web form, but don't wait. Don't wait very long. Get on it quickly. Fill that out, because they still contend that is their preferred method for dealing with support issues. Use the web form. But if they don't answer within 3 or 4 days, then go straight to Instagram and try it there, and you'll get an answer. I mean, that's what I've learned from all this, so there you go. We watched the first episode of the Netflix limited series, The Madness, and man, it was awesome. I mean, this one stars the powerhouse actor Coleman Domingo. I know Coleman Domingo from his character Strand from Fear the Walking Dead. And man, this guy is awesome. I could watch him. I mean, I'm probably not a good person to answer the question, should you watch Madness? Or is the Madness good? Because I'm telling you right now, if they put a camera on Coleman Domingo and just had him read from an old phone book, I'd probably be like, I'd be watching the whole thing. Because I love this guy. Really excellent actor. I understand he's also a director and a writer. I think is a playwright even. Awesome, awesome dude. But this is a wrong man, wrong place situation. He comes across a murder. He sees it after it happens. He goes to the cops. I mean, not going to give away anything else, but I mean, this plays out like an old Hitchcock thriller, but set in modern times. And, he plays a political pundit and a writer. He works for CNN, and he ends up in the wrong place at the absolute wrong time. And then it becomes sort of a cat and mouse chase type. It's just watch it. Especially if you love Coleman Domingo like I do. Watch it. This guy is awesome. When I first seen trailers for this, I thought it was a movie. It was kind of unclear if it was a show or a movie. Well, it turns out it is a limited series. In the poster art I'm showing here, it says a Netflix series. But in some of the other places, it says a mini-series. And yet other places, it says a limited series. Now, to me, a limited series and mini-series, same thing. So, and this is good because you can't trust Netflix. You get something really awesome on Netflix you love, and often they cut it off at the knees, and it doesn't get a satisfactory ending. But with this coming out as a limited series, and they've already put the first 8 episodes up, maybe this is 8 and we're done. Hopefully. I mean, if they want to do something else with Coleman Domingo later, they want to shoot him looking at a phone book, I'm there for that too. But at least if we got 8 here and we have a complete story, that'll be awesome. But yeah, really, really love this. Yeah, he is a great actor. If you haven't watched Fear the Walking Dead because you've heard bad things or you just fell off the series or whatever, man, go watch it. Go watch all 5 or 6 seasons, whatever it was, because Coleman Domingo comes in there and steals every scene. He is awesome. In many ways, I think he might be the best thing to come, well, not the best, but one of the best things to come out of the whole Walking Dead franchise is Coleman Domingo. So, yeah. Great, great stuff. I don't talk about music too much on these, but I don't see why I can't every now and then. It's Larry's Library, and it's some of the things that wind up in my library, so there you go. I did listen to The Cure's new album, Songs of a Lost World, that came out not too long ago. So if you haven't listened to that yet, do that. This is The Cure's first new album in like 16 years. It's their 14th studio album. I loved it. There's a cool article I read, let's see, it was from the Irish Times or something like that. I'll link it in the description too if you want to read that. But they talked to him a little bit of a part interview in it. And this pull quote from that, I mean, just look at this. He says, I wear lipstick, I'm 65, I'm not the person to stand up to say what's wrong with the world. Now that is a refreshing attitude, is it not? Yeah, but so check out that article and listen to this album if you haven't already. It's out on everything. I listen to it on YouTube Music, but for sure it's on Spotify and wherever else you get your music. Good stuff. Highly recommended, but I'm a Cure fan from way back, so take that as you will. And that is about all I got for you this week. Check out some of that stuff, or if you have already, let me know what you think about it down in the comments. And hopefully I'll catch you next Monday, if not sooner. So thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and give me a thumbs up if you like this.